I've got maybe a 20-minute window to try and take some photos. If I get any, here's what they look like. So I've only got about 20 minutes for a couple of reasons. One, I'm on holiday in the heart of Yorkshire on this lovely farm with some family, including little kids, and to be honest, I want to get back to them because I want to actually enjoy my holiday with these people. But also, it's been incredibly bad weather. It's so windy and the black clouds are billowing overhead, and it keeps going from nice sunny weather like it is kind of right now to absolute torrential downpour. I tried coming out yesterday and it just got so rainy that I had to pack up all my equipment and head home. And that's a real shame because farms like this can present so many opportunities for photos, not just macro, but all kinds of nature, wildlife, general outdoor lifestyle type of shots. Hi friends! You can probably also tell that I'm going from very bright to very dark in these woods. It's making it very difficult to film. For example, suddenly I go supernova. I'm heading for wooded areas like this because I think that's going to be my best opportunity to try and get away from the rain that's still coming down, as well as maybe find some smaller things growing. Am I going to get caught in another downpour? Maybe. I better work quickly. I've got a lovely foxglove here just by itself. Really like how that looks. Just going to snap a quick shot. But actually for this, I think I'm going to try using my flash, because I think I'm going to be able to bring in some really interesting light and shadow if I light this, particularly because right now it's got these water droplets hanging off it. So I'm going to do two things. One, change my battery because it's flashing at me and we don't want to lose power halfway through. So very quick battery swap. I've put my Godox X Pro C, or whatever it is, trigger on my camera, and I've got my Godox AD100 Pro flash right here. So let's just turn that on. And I'm going to be hand holding the light, which I always like to do because it lets me position it exactly where I want. In this case, I'm starting at its lowest power. And I'm going to try popping it here. Far too bright. I'm going to go f8, 125th of a second. Not really loving how these look. I'm hand holding both my camera and the light, which is a little bit awkward, but it can be the best way to kind of figure out what you want that composition to look like. You know what, this isn't really doing it for me. Lighting wise, I do quite like it because what I'm doing is basically cancelling out all of the ambient light in the scene, and so all we're seeing is my pop of flash. So it's making the flower really stand out. So lighting wise, I kind of like what's going on here, but I just don't think it's a very good composition. So I'm going to scout around this little area, see if there's anything else I can find. Actually, next to my photography bag, there's another pink foxglove, but this one is kind of nestled inside these leaves, and I'm hoping that maybe with my 35mm macro that I've got on right now, I could probably get a slightly more interesting composition using this sort of leaf as out of focus foreground. It is very difficult to try and handhold both the camera and the flash, but I don't have long, so I don't really want to be setting up tripods. I don't think these shots are very good either, but maybe I can pull something back in Lightroom. And I'm going to have a little explore and see if there's anything else that I can find around here. quite a big fir tree that's been chopped down, so we've got all of the branches coming down here, and we've got loads of fir cones still attached. I'm hoping maybe there's a nice shot. I think what I'm enjoying here, and what I'm expecting to do a little bit more of in the post process here, is bring out the rich orange tones of those fir cones against that more vivid green of the pine needles or fir needles. Just found some little oak leaves sitting in the ground, and they've got these little water droplets on them. I'm fairly certain that if I can fire my flash in the right angle on those water droplets, they're going to light up like little crystals, and this actually might be quite a nice little shot. So I'm going to put you down over here. I'm going to get my flash back, and just here is my leaf. And if I just take this shot, I'm going to go back to f8, 200th of a second. In natural light, we've got basically a black frame. Well, a dark frame anyway. So I know now that when I bring my flash into this shot, what I'm going to get is only the light coming from my flash. So wherever I put that, I know that it's my light, not the ambient light. The leaves here, lovely water droplets. It's a lovely vibrant green against all the browns around it. That's what really stood out when I'm just scouting for shots. So autofocus on the middle of the leaf, bring that flash in. I think that looks okay for a quick shot. Actually, there's some more literally right in front of it. These are in a little cluster, so maybe these ones will be nicer to shoot. I kind of like that one too, because we've got a little bit more shadow in there. It's almost like a little bit of a candid photo looking at these leaves. I suppose it's a bit daft saying candid when these are just some dead leaves on the ground, but you know, the dark clouds are moving in again. I don't think I've got long. So what else can I find in this area? What else could be an interesting macro shot? There's a lot of just like forest leaf litter on the ground, and sometimes you can find some really good stuff in amongst it. Little leaves, little mosses, maybe even little fungus growing through. To be honest, some of that stuff you really need to get down on such a small level to find those subjects, and also use at least 100mm macro lens, if not using extension tubes, to get really almost at a microscopic level. And I don't really have the time for that. We're working quickly. I'm working between rainstorms, and I'm working to try and get back to spending time with family. Because let's be honest, that is the way that most of us have to shoot. We have to put up with the weather because we want to go out, and sometimes it's not always going to be great. But also, we've got jobs, we've got families, and so we don't always have the time to spend hours and hours and hours every single day going out looking for shots. Sometimes we're just finding little breaks when the kids have been put down for a nap, when you can nip out and quickly take some shots. I like these leaves. I'm actually going to hold my flash and try and backlight them. So I'm shooting behind. Oh yeah, it's actually creating some really nice patterns. Ooh, something very minimalist and moody about these actually. I like these a lot actually. Yeah. There's a very sort of, something almost quite fine art about these. The way we've got this like strong contrast, the light, the shadow, the different layers in these images. I love these shadows we're getting from that leaf. I really like that a lot. If I had more time, I'd probably play around with getting similar shots on these leaves, and I can see it being the sort of thing that maybe you'd have printed as a triptych with 3 different variations that would work well together. So I will try just a few more and just kind of see where I get. These ones are kind of blowing around quite a bit, so they're a little bit difficult for me to shoot. Oh, I think my time might be ending up there, blue sky, up there, black sky. And I think that blackness is coming right over the top of me, but I'll keep on going until I can't. And I like this one here. This is literally just a leaf on a totally dead cut down branch, but it's got all these water droplets. We can see the underside with all the, I want to say veins of the leaf. So I'm just putting that into a composition. My light's really overhead. It's a proper top down light because that's going to cause the best shadow in this shot. And I think something like this, it's pretty stark and dramatic. I really like what it's doing. Green leaf on brown log. Won't lie, on the one hand I find this a little bit frustrating because there's such a huge area for me to explore around here. I really feel like if I had a lot more time I could really get down into the details, look under these leaves and find so many things to photograph. Because I know that earlier in the day there's so many different insects, so many flies, loads of things going around that I could point my macro lens at. But I'm so limited for time, and because it has been so wet and windy today, none of the insects are actually out and about. They're all tucked away wherever insects tuck themselves away. But my last shot, I'm going to keep things really simple, and down here there is just this whole litter of fir cones. There's just loads and loads of them. And I really want to do just like a nice top-down shot that fills the frame with these different fir cones. So I'm just going to tidy it up slightly, just get rid of a couple of these leaves and just a couple of the dead twigs. I actually like, you know, the fact that there are these sorts of twigs in because these are part of the fir cones themselves. So kind of having those slightly in frame. But I am just arranging it into a little bit of a still life scene, I suppose. Something that will look nice. And again, I'm going to go top down as before. I'm auto focusing in the middle of my scene, and I'm still using my flash. That's really dark. Why is that so dark? Oh, because I'm at f18. How about f9? Some really basic shots, but you know what? I'm actually fairly pleased, I think, with what I've got today, given the restrictions that I've been under. Sorry that this video has been quite rough and ready, and maybe I'm also sorry that the quality of images I have shown haven't been great. But I have genuinely been under some huge time pressures to get this video done. And you know what? I think that's great because we all are often under time pressures. So I kind of wanted just to show maybe how I would try and shoot things, how I would try and approach coming out and trying to find some shots when I'm in a hurry. If you have found this video useful or enjoyable, then do please hit that like button, and of course consider subscribing to my channel if you don't already, and I will see you next time. Next time when hopefully I've got a little bit more time. Oh, and the rain's coming down, so I've got to go.